Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Hello, hello. Welcome. Hi, we are so excited to have you. My name is Hortensia Garcia. I am a regional education trainer based out of sunny, not so sunny today, Orange County, California, and I'm so excited to be here to join you all to talk about some of my most loved products, which is the Studio Fix franchise. So we're not going to waste any time, and I'm just going to jump into it. As you can see, I have an eye on already, but my skin needs a little bit of love, so we're really going to focus on skin. Let me just tell you a little bit about my skin and what I really enjoy in a foundation. I am combination, so what that means is I can be a little bit more dry around the perimeter, but I tend to get really oily around the T-zone. So for me, especially as I'm getting older, I like a finish that has enough coverage to where I am covering the blemishes that I want to cover, but looks natural enough to where it feels like my own skin and it doesn't feel like I have a ton of foundation on. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So I'm going to show you all of my tips and tricks and secrets on how to create a skin that is very perfected but still very natural. So we're just going to jump into it. The first thing that I like to do before anything else, I'll also be pinning all of the products that I'm using as we're going through this. So if you want to shop with me as we go, as we have this time together, please feel free to do so. So my first, let's see here, Fix Plus. As I'm tagging this, let me tell you about this guy. So this is my very first step during any skin application. And what I like to do is I actually like to spray a little bit of this in my hands like this and press it into my skin. And this is just gonna give me a boost of hydration. It's gonna give my skin a nice supple finish. That way, as I'm applying my moisturizer, my prepping products, everything absorbs instantly, which is what we want, right? I know for a lot of us in the morning, we don't have a lot of time to waste. So we need our products to work instantly for us. So Prep and Prime Fix Plus is super great to getting all of your products to really activate and to work instantly. So that gives me a boost of hydration, but I shared with you guys earlier, I'm a little bit dry around the perimeter, so I need some moisturizer, especially as we're getting into this colder season. I need all the hydration in my skin. So the next product I'm going to use is a Mineralized Charged Water Moisture Gel. So let me edit this here. This, like I shared earlier, I really want a skin that is my skin but better, and I also don't like the feeling of having tons of product on my skin, makeup weighing down on my skin, it feeling heavy. So lately I've really been leaning towards moisturizers that are more of a gel consistency, which is why I love this so much, is because it is a really thin, it's almost translucent, you can see here. So it just gives me a really thin veil of hydration around my skin. If you are more on the oily side and you tend to stray away from moisturizers, this might be a really great option for you. It's very, very lightweight. It melts right into the skin, and again, it doesn't feel like I have a heavy cream or heavy moisturizer on. Also, we're using a number of different products here, so the more that I can apply thin layers of things, the better it will be for me because it'll feel a lot more comfortable, but everything will look a lot softer and more natural, which we love. So just applying this right all over my skin, not missing any spots, especially under the eyes. We want to make sure that's nice and supple and moisturized. Perfect. All right, that feels good. So now we're really going to get into prepping the skin. So my skin is nice and hydrated. I'm giving it all the good for you ingredients. But now we're going to talk about some products that are meant to elevate your foundation and elevate your makeup and help your makeup perform 10 times better. So the first thing that I like to do is actually I like to target the different needs of my skin with my prepping products. So what that means is I shared with you earlier, around the perimeter, I am a little bit more dry, whereas in the center, I'm more oily. So what I like to do is use different products in different areas to help to control oil in the T-zone and to help to hydrate around the perimeter. So the first product I'm going to use is going to be Natural Radiance, which is a great primer really for anybody. It's oil controlling, but it's also hydrating at the same time. this is going to leave you with a little bit more of a radiant finish. So I really enjoy this around the outside of my face, around the perimeter, because I'm okay with building a little bit of glow there throughout the day, and I actually want my skin to look a little bit more hydrated. So we're going to tag this guy here. Let's see. Natural Radiance. And one of my favorite things about this primer is the finish that it has. So this is definitely a gripping primer. So if you want something that's just going to instantly hold on to your foundation and not let it go, that's going to be this. It has almost like a tacky feel to it as you're working it in. So I'm going to go right around here to my forehead, a little bit on my cheeks. And as it starts to dry, you can really see as I'm working this into my skin with my fingers, it builds a little bit of grit to it, which is awesome when you're applying your foundation. You want something that's going to instantly hold and not allow your products to move around. So I'm using a little bit of Natural Radiance around the perimeter here. It leaves me with a really pretty glow, you can see, and that's going to shine through and peek through my foundation, which I love. So next, we're going to go in with a product that is fairly new for us. So this launched maybe a month ago, but I don't know how I lived without it prior. So this is the Studio Fix Mattifying Primer. I'm going to change my tag here. We're working really fast today, so these tags are coming and going. All right. Studio Fix Mattifying Primer. So 12-hour shine control. If you are oily, let me tell you, this is a game changer. And I know that there are tons of mattifying primers out there, but really the biggest standout for me is the texture of this. I've tried a million oil controlling primers in the past, and I've literally never felt anything that feels quite like this. So the consistency of this is very, very light. So you'll notice it's not thick at all. So what I find a lot of the times with mattifying primers is you get almost like a silicone-y feel that stays on top of the skin, which I personally do not like. I like something that's just gonna feel like my skin, smooth out texture and help control the shine, but I don't want to feel like anything is there, which is exactly what mattifying does for me. So this is going to help to control oil for 12 hours, which is awesome. There is witch hazel and algae extract in this, which again will help to control the oil in the skin. And I'm really just applying this right in the center of my face. So right around the forehead, because these are the areas where as we start to build shine, it can tend to look a little bit more on the greasy end versus the radiant end. I want to stay radiant. I don't want to look greasy. So applying products around the T-zone is going to help to control that shine there and make me look nice and matte in the areas that I need. Also smooths out texture, instantly blurs pores, which we love, and then will again hold on to my makeup all day long. So Studio Fix Mattifying Primer, if you are oily, you need this. You can see mine's all beat up because I've used it so much. It's almost gone. I'm going to need a new one pretty soon. So my skin is pretty prepped. We targeted the areas that we wanted. So again, we have a more radiant finish around the perimeter, and then we have something a little bit more oily towards this, oil controlling towards the center. So now we can really talk about our hero, our star of the show, which is Studio Fix, the franchise, because we're using a few Studio Fix products, but Studio Fix Fluid for me, man, this has been a favorite of mine for years now. And I think the reasons why I love it just continue to come. So I'm going to change my tag before we really get into this so you can actually start to see me apply some makeup on. All right. So, probably the most inclusive foundation that is out there. This comes in 63 shades, so there is literally a shade for everybody. If this is a product that you are dying to try or that you want to find your perfect color, I really encourage you to visit one of our MAC stores. Our MAC artists are incredible. They would be able to find you your perfect shade. Take home a free 10-day sample and try this out in the comfort of your home. So the shade that I'm using today is Studio Fix. It's the NC25. You know it's Studio Fix Fluid. And what I love about this foundation, this is what I like to do. I like to target the areas where I want a little bit more coverage. Now, this is a full coverage foundation. So you can really build this up to give you that full glam look, but also sheer it down and make it look really natural, which for me, I love that. That's probably my favorite thing about this foundation is the versatility that it provides. So with a full coverage foundation, I find that you get more flexibility because you can really sheer it down to make it look natural, but also really build it up. Maybe on the weekends, or if you have a special event where you want a little bit more coverage. And I'm using a patting motion. So in the areas where I want more coverage, so you can see I have a few blemishes around my cheek. I have these little freckles here that I want to peek through still. So I'm not going in with too much product in that area. But in the areas where I want additional coverage, I'm using a patting motion. Patting there. And then the areas where I want the product to be a little bit more natural, I'm using a swirl, almost like blending motion. So patting in those areas with the blemishes. And this is an NC shade. So what that means, I know that our numbers and our color ranges can be a little confusing for people. I get it. You know, you're like, what the heck is an NC25? So NC stands for neutral cool. So I'm getting some neutral undertones in there, but I'm also getting some cool undertones. So for us, that means golden. You'll notice that this has a golden, more olive undertone that really matches the rest of my body. Make sure it matches my neck. And you can see that instantly gives me a nice wash of color, which I needed, right? I'm sure you all agree. I needed a little color to this skin. And this brush, by the way, I didn't add it to my pins, but this brush is incredible for foundation. It's the perfect shape. It's super dense, so you can get tons of coverage, but it's also long enough to where you get flexibility, so it works with your skin. It doesn't feel stiff, and it's so soft and comfortable. So around the perimeter here, just blending this in. So obviously, Studio Fix 24-hour wear. This is going to stay on for as long as you need it to. I don't think anybody should be wearing their makeup for 24 hours, but if you need your makeup to wear for 24 hours, this is going to be the foundation for you. So again, oil controlling, it's for all skin types. So those prepping products and using your moisturizer and all of that underneath is going to be super important to get the finish that you need. So you can get this foundation to look very radiant. You can see how adding that primer underneath, you could still see the glow underneath my skin, and then adding something a little bit more mattifying towards the center is helping to control the oil. So that's why I can't stress enough the importance of targeting the needs of your skin with different products. So I'm pretty happy with the coverage there. I could probably add a little bit more. Let's go right. I have this little sucker right here that's been around for quite some time. I'm ready for him to go away. Maybe right in there. And then again, a patting motion. Awesome. So I know this is a global handle, so I would love to know where you guys are all joining us from, because I know we have people from all over the world. Put it in the comments and let me know. All right. So I'm happy with that level of coverage. I like to give myself a little dusting around the mouth. Awesome. All right, so that's enough coverage for me. Again, doesn't look like too much. I know that a lot of the times Studio Fix can get a little bit of a bad rep, like it's heavy, it's cakey, but again, you can manipulate it, and depending on the products that you use underneath, you can make it look really soft and natural. So I think this is enough coverage for me. I'm happy with the finish. We can move on now to concealer. So I'm actually going to be using the same concealer in a few different shades for a number of different reasons, but first we're going to cover some of this darkness and depth. You might think there isn't a ton there yet, but once we cover it up with concealer, you're going to be like, whoa, okay, that makes a big difference. So this is the Studio Fix 24-hour Smooth Wear Concealer, which again, one of those like products that is a little bit newer. I mean, it's been around for a year, 2 years, maybe 2 to 3 years, but I don't know how I lived without it prior. So let me tag this here. All right, and the shade that I'm using is NC35. So I'm going to go in. This one has a great doe foot applicator, so it's super easy to use. You can kind of just pinpoint the areas where you want a little additional coverage. I'm using this just around my eyes, so I'm just going to add a few little dollops here. And that's enough. I don't need any more of that. So this is a mattifying primer, 24-hour wear. It is so smooth. The finish of it is the perfect type of matte. It's not overly drying, so it's not going to give you like that cakey, it's not going to look cakey at the end. So, and it's self-setting, which is really neat. I am applying this and I'm letting it almost kind of just like sit there for a second because it'll start to dry up for me and the coverage will build up as it dries. So I'm giving it a minute to kind of just sit there and mattify for me. And then I'm going to take a little dense brush. This is a 270. And again, I'm going to use a patting motion. So using a patting motion, I'm blending this up. And remember that products disperse, right? So you can tell that I didn't put it too close to my lash line, and I also didn't put it too low on my cheek because this product is going to blend both ways. So whenever you're applying your makeup, make sure that you kind of center it in the area where you generally want it to go, because creams are going to spread out and move around. So I'm applying this right in that area, using a patting motion right where I applied it, and then slowly blending out and up. And you can see that instantly it just makes a world of difference. Like I look like I got 10 hours of sleep in a minute, which we love, right? We want to look rested and awake and ready to take on our day. So you can see that it has a really nice matte finish. It's not overly matte, doesn't look too dry. I can honestly just leave it as is and go on with my day and it'll stay put, which is awesome. I do like to set it a tiny bit with a little bit of a loose powder, but we can do that a little later. And then same thing right over here. So patting, blending up this way and right over this way. So yes, this is a 270S brush. The best way that I can describe this tool is it really mimics your finger. So if you're somebody who likes to apply your concealer with your finger, this brush does the same thing, only you don't have to get your fingers dirty, which is awesome. You don't get that sticky feeling. All right, so you can see there that I look awake now, right? My skin looks perfected. It doesn't look overly done. And I think that's enough. And again, you can build this up as much as you want. So if you're someone who likes to really like highlight and contour, add a little bit more. If you're someone who just wants to spot conceal around your face, you can use this for the same exact thing. So this is NC35 for me. These do run a little bit lighter in shade in comparison to Studio Fix Fluid, so that's why I was at NC25 in this and at NC35 in this. So just keep that in mind if you are shopping the product. But again, if you are having difficulties finding your perfect shade, visit a MAC store. We also have the virtual try-on tool on our website, so you can just log in. It scans your face, takes a picture of your face, and it'll help to match you with your perfect shade. So this is the Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear in NC35. Now I'm going to use a different color, same formula, in a different shade. So this is NW42, and I'm actually going to use this to contour. It's my favorite contour. I've been using this since it launched, the same exact color and everything. And I'm going to apply a little bit right upon my cheek, right this way, and a little bit around the perimeter of my forehead, just to give me some color. So this is going to double for me almost as a bronzer slash contour. One of my friends likes to call it a brontour. So this is going to be my brontour, something that's easy, right? Something that's going to contour. It's cool enough to where it looks like a natural shadow that exists within my skin, which is what a contour does. Excuse me. And it's warm enough to where it gives you a little bit of color in life. So we love that. And I'm going to be using the same tool that I use for my foundation. And the reason why I can do this is because of the amount of product I'm using, right? So I'm using very small quantities of everything, so there shouldn't be a ton left over on your brush. So you can kind of switch back and forth, and it's not going to make a ton of difference on the application. So I'm going to blend on my forehead first. So again, using a patting motion, you can see it just blends out so smoothly. It's the perfect color. This way. And I add out to my forehead, not really for a contour, more just to balance out the color, and so it's not just contour on my cheeks, so everything looks nice and even. And then right on my cheek area, again, I'm patting right where the product is first, and then slowly blending out. So patting motion, and then building this up this way. A little down, but not too much, because we want it to hold its form and its shape. And I like to blend that right up into the temples and into that color that we just added. So you can see it adds just perfect shade into the hollows of my cheek. All right, so next, you know what? I won't be able to tag this, but this is a 128S brush. So that is my bad. I forgot to add it to my list. It's a 128S brush. So this is the one that's doubling as my foundation brush, also as my cheek contour extraordinaire. So blending up this way, bringing it this way. I even like to just like bring it into my cheeks, do a little bit on the nose, because we know that that's very trendy right now, is a little color on the nose so it looks nice and sun-kissed. Let me tell you, I live in what's normally sunny California, and it's today just decided not to be very sunny. It's pretty gloomy outside, so I need all the color that I can get. Awesome. All right, so I think I'm happy with the amount of color that gives me. Again, you can always add a little bit more if you need to. Blending up, but I think that is enough for today. We're going for something a little bit softer, right? Lived-in makeup. And the final step in this get ready with me skin moment for me is going to be Studio Fix powder, which I think for a lot of us is the way that we were introduced to MAC. So I know that's very true for me. The very first product that I ever owned was a Studio Fix compact in a C4, which is still currently the shade that I wear. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but still wear C4 in this powder foundation, which is exactly what it is, a powder foundation. So it's a full coverage powder. Let me get a little powder brush here that didn't pull anything. We could do this guy. All right, so I'm just gonna get a powder brush. I'm just gonna give my skin a little bit of a dusting. So again, right in the areas where I want to be a little bit more matte, so like around the nose, using a fluffy brush to just dust over that. A little underneath the eyes just to set, but everywhere else I kind of just want to let my skin shine through, and a little bit in the center. This foundation, which is technically a foundation, can be used on its own. So if you're someone who's looking for something quick and easy, you're always on the go, but you want a little bit of coverage, just a little bit of perfecting, Studio Fix powder is going to be your best bet. You can just use, it comes with a little sponge that you can use. I always recommend using a brush. Dust it on, it gives you perfect amount of coverage, instantly smoothes, mattifies your skin, so it looks and feels really nice. And again, you can use it completely on its own. Always recommend a primer though, so put your moisturizer and your primer underneath and be good to go. So awesome. My skin looks healthy, not overly done. I wasn't gonna apply blush, but I feel like now that I'm on here, I just might. So this product will not be tagged because this is impromptu and I wasn't planning on applying this, but one of my go-tos now. So this is Glow Play blush. I'm just going to use my finger and just apply a little bit on the apples of my cheek here. And if for any reason, like any of these products, you didn't take notes or you don't remember, come visit me on my page, send me a DM, write me a comment. I am more than happy to answer any of your questions. My Instagram handle is at 10chains with 2 Z's. I did pin it in the title of the live. So if for any reason you didn't get all the details, send me a message and I'm more than happy to help you. Okay, so this is So Natural Glow Plate Blush, which again does exactly what it says, right? It's so natural. It's just a little hit of color, a little hit of glow right on the apples of my cheeks and on the bridge of my nose. So I'm pretty much done. I'm going to finish this off with some gloss just to kind of get me ready for my day. And that is my naturally perfected skin. So again, like I shared with you in the beginning, I wanted something that gave me enough coverage to where I'm covering the blemishes that I need, the dark circles around my eyes, but where it feels like I don't have a ton on and it still looks very natural out in natural light as I'm going about my day. So I think we accomplished that. Hopefully you fell in love with some of my favorites with the Studio Fix franchise. Again, if you did fall in love with any of these products, please visit MACcosmetics.com. They are all available there for you to shop. I also, again, encourage you to visit one of our MAC stores. Our MAC artists are so talented and so incredible, and they would be more than happy to help you find your perfect shade, and you can get a 10-day sample. So with that, that is the end of my time on here. It's always a pleasure to come on and hang out with all of you from all over the world. And I hope you guys all have an incredible day, and I am out of here. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.